All the content contained in this webcast is for informational purposes only. The investments and strategies contained in this webcast may not be suitable for you. Please consult your own independent financial advisors before making any investment or trading decisions. Well, Dennis, pretty wild ride here in the Apple stock. Just first with the S&Ps. We are trading at yesterday's high, made a new high during the Globex session. Really trying to hang in here, Dennis, to take another shot at that 1380 level.
Yeah, the market is holding up here quite nicely here, Joel. And talk about a stock move. What a ride in Apple here today. Check that one out, Joel.
Yeah, well, Dennis, do you know what happened on the open?
What happened on the open?
There was an influx of GMFO orders.
Oh, what's a GMFO? Uh-oh, I might be able to guess what a GMFO. We might have to bleep you on the show, though, right?
Can I say that on?
I don't know if you can use the third acronym letter or not, but get me the blank out, I think, is what you're referring to there, aren't you?
Right, and we were talking about that the other day. You know, we were talking about, hey, is this thing going to bottom or whatever? And I said I was looking for the 10 or 20 point down open.
Right.
Well, you got a nice 10-point flush. So now that the little guy is filled at 571.91 on their sell stops, Dennis, I got a key number for Apple to look at the upside over the next couple days, but I don't want to reveal it yet. But it's on a roll, Dennis. Could get back up to that $600 level, and you're getting some action in Google, too.
Joel, it really is on a roll here. Just to stay on the Apple just for a second, you're exactly right. You had the flush out here today where we basically sold off 40 or 50 points in the matter of a couple of trading sessions. Everybody flushed out here. Everybody in the grandma basically that wanted out got out on that open. Knocks it down to 571. But what started happening is Google started rallying here. Google started rallying right before the open. Actually started rallying about 10 minutes. So if you're using a Google indicator, it kind of indicated the turn in Apple. These two stocks have been trending together for the last few days, and Google definitely took off, and then Apple followed suit. Now Apple's off to the races. You got people coming in probably saying, oh, that's the bottom. We got to get in Apple before it gets to 700 again. So you definitely got some a nice bounce here. 20-point bounce off the low now for Apple. I would think 600 is going to come into play here eventually. That would be the big test, obviously. To sustain any rally, you'd like to see it close above 600 for a couple sessions, maybe consolidate a bit, because right now we're kind of trading right in the middle. We were at 610 there at the beginning of yesterday. We sold off basically 40 bucks. Now we've rallied 20, so we're in the middle of this trading range. 50% retracement, some of the traders like to say that would put you right in this area, but I'm still skeptical, and this thing really can go anywhere, Joel.
Yeah, if you look, well, you're going to make me reveal my secret number now.
Okay.
But you know, we basically had over a 70-point break from 644 down to that low. Taking back 35 points of that would definitely get it back above 600, 605 where it settled on Friday. So that that could definitely be the area that we're going to test. But that's providing that we don't go down and make a new low. Commented on the Apple on the Google to a few of our traders that we're doing some custom level analysis for, and I said, just keep an eye on yesterday's low, and lo and behold, we did get to 607.01. That was just a little ways from the previous day's low, and it did get a nice bounce. Also, what I've noticed about this Google is, I know, and Dennis, you're going to love this, but there's a lot of support at 600.
There really is, Joel. You can use the whole number theory on that one all day. I mean, that's just a huge psychological level. Just like we talked about the Apple needing to hold the 600, which it obviously didn't. The Google needed to hold the 600, and it did. So that's obviously a good sign for the stock. Below 600, and I would not want to own Google, but above 600, I can make an argument to try to pick a bottom, in the 605 to 610 here. I think you just had a 10-point run here. I don't really know if I'd feel like chasing the stock when it just ran 10 points in 20 minutes. But if it's to pull back, I think you put your stop around 600 bucks. It takes that out, then I probably would get nervous to be long the stock. We've got other stocks moving here too, Joel. I mean, Coke. We talked about Coke in the pre-market show. This thing's taking off, actually making a new high again here on the day. Wild stock. we definitely opened strong. We kind of sold off just a smidgen, and then we went into full rally mode. Took out that 74 area. I'll probably hit a few stops and people were washing out. Then it pulled back to shake out the longs, but now it's got this march going on again. Been making new highs. This thing is marching right now, Joel. It's getting close to that 52-week high that we just set at 74.39. Think that's going to come into play?
Well, I'd go out on a limb here and say that it's going to, Dennis.
It's only 12 cents away from here. Well, way to go out on a limb there, Joel.
Yeah. We talked about that stock accumulation at the 72 level. Obviously, some smart money was on that. I don't know if they had a little idea what was going on in the earnings, but it's got a nice pop. Short in the open definitely was not the call on that. In fact, where do you have the New York Open on Coca-Cola?
73.55 is where it opened on New York.
Okay, I got a little bit of a different, but Dennis, I have to go to the monthlies here. And I have to go back to November of '98. You were probably still in junior high then?
Yeah, well, maybe high school.
Okay.
Actually, I started bright with you in '99, so I was a little older than that.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't want to reveal your age, but anyways, back in November of '98, Dennis, the stock got up to 75.44. So if in fact, we make a strong move, I doubt it's going to do it today, but that's the next number on the radar for Coca-Cola. Is you getting any follow through with Pepsi?
You know what? Pepsi had a little bit, but it really has been quiet. You get some of these pear traders get caught in this kind of stuff too, that they'll put on the Pepsi, short the Coke, and I think this market likes to punish the maximum amount of people. So when you have these people putting on these spreads off the bat, they get underwater, and it wouldn't surprise me if you got a lot of short-term pear traders possibly long Pepsi, which keeps the stock probably down. Usually, where the short-term, I always try to analyze short-term supply and demand, and if you can analyze that, there's a lot of short-term traders that own the stock right now. It usually, because they'll keep selling, so that actually adds selling pressure and often presses the stock the other way. So I'm always a contrarian to short-term supply and demand, and I think you've probably got some pear traders that have put that on, and they're probably underwater. So I don't know if I see Pepsi really rallying up like the Coke did today. I think the 66 number is kind of like a magnet to it too, Joel. It was this morning at 66.03, so not really getting the follow-through in Pepsi.
Okay, Goldman Sachs. I guess I was kind of right and kind of wrong. I didn't want to really be short going into the earnings. We've talked about 115 to 120. I guess some people jumped the gun here, 119.77, but still, that 120 is just going to be a major level, I'd say, for the whole quarter in Goldman Sachs.
I mean, we highlighted this range pre-market there. We said it got down to 114.75 in the pre-market. We've called this area great support, this whole 115 area with the couple lows that had the previous sessions. It bounced off there in the pre-market, got right up to the resistance areas that we were talking about from those same 2 days, 120.41 and 120.09. So it didn't quite get there, got to 119.77. But we know those high-frequency guys like to lean on those resistance areas, and sometimes they're a few cents in front of it, so not surprising that it stalled out in the high 119s. It is pulling back here. I think if it obviously got down that 115 area, you'd probably get some high frequency buyers stepping in there in the low 115s. We're kind of in the middle of that though, Joel, so hard to say if it's going to get that low or not to give our traders another buying opportunity.
Okay, yeah, just going looking at some of the Big Ten here, Dennis. Didn't go in a lot of detail or haven't talked about Mr. Softy in a while, but and it's a little late after the fact now, but that 31, 16, and 19 level encompasses, I believe, 3 out of the 4 previous days high. We opened up right there, and bam, we were off to actually the last 2 days highs. It was a double top. We opened right there and took off. So Microsoft is putting on some nice gains here. If you get a pull back to that level, it'd probably be a good opportunity to buy it. I don't see major resistance up in Mr. Softy until like the 3170 level.
Tech stocks are kind of off to the races today. We have Intel and IBM reporting after the bell. Obviously, the rally in Apple is trading 594 now, is putting upward pressure on the whole space as well. So I think the techs are looking good today. Like just looking at the Intel chart, it's making a new 52-week high today, Joel. And obviously, that's a multi-year high that we were talking about. 2878 it got up to. It's peeled off a little bit from that, but it did make a new new high, and obviously with earnings after the bell and Intel, that's going to be a continued driver for your tech sector. So I would definitely keep Intel up on your charts today, keep Apple up on your charts, and use those stocks as indicators when you're trading your other techs.
Okay, one stock that we've kind of gotten twisted sister on and got bearish, and then they fooled us a little bit. J&J looks like it's in a whole heap of trouble.
J&J was, well, we talked about the 64.50 area possibly giving you a little struggle. It didn't quite get that high. It opened 65 or 63 and a quarter and peeled back right from there. So opened up basically and sold, I'm sorry, 64 and a quarter, opened up and basically sold straight off a whole buck. We thought if it cut through the 63.50 it might be in trouble. It went down a quarter. It's back in the 63.50 area now. But the stock doesn't look great, Joel. I mean, we failed up here a couple of times in these low 64s. We'd cut through there a few. It's been a pretty wild range for this stock, but I still don't know. It's just relative strength just not that great on Johnson & Johnson.
Okay, is there anything that we need to alert our traders to for tomorrow's earnings? We talked about the Intel a little bit. I guess the Beamer's still strong, Dennis, knocking on the door of that 206 level again. I think that's going to put a cap on the rallies ahead of the earnings coming out in IBM.
Yeah, the IBM, you want to keep an eye on those levels. I mean, this is a hard stock to predict. Like, obviously, last earnings report, it had a gap and go. And when I say gap and go, you can look at the chart here where it gapped up on the earnings and kept running up. I don't know. It's had a great run. It's hard to say if it's going to have another gap and go here. But keep an eye, obviously after the bell, IBM's going to be your bigger report. I'd say it's more of a driver than probably even Intel. So look at what they say. Obviously keep an eye on the 52-week high right there, 210.69. That whole 210 area probably give you some initial resistance. If it's a really good report and starts taking that out, I definitely wouldn't want to be short it. And we did highlight those lows there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which you were saying in the pre-market show that those lows are unprecedented to have 5 lows within 40, 50 cents on a $200 stock, and one that's as volatile as IBM. So obviously this whole 202 area could provide some initial support. After that, I would say 200. So if you are trading this after hours, looking at it, prior to the earnings report, I think that's probably some areas to take a look at. And obviously that's going to be a major indicator too. So even if you're not trading IBM, obviously you want to take a look at what's happening after the bell and into your day tomorrow. Use that as an indicator.
Okay, and kudos to you on U.S. Bancorp. You really didn't think it was going to open above that 31.50 level. That's kept a cap on it so far, Dennis. Any activity in the other banks that we should feature?
Joel, it just Citigroup has been strong. Citigroup opened up, actually sold off a little bit, but now is rallying here again. So some of these bank stocks, which we thought might have some follow-through, are actually performing quite well here. I mean, we were talking about the European banks being stronger on the pre-market show. It has followed up. You've got Citi up. You've got Bank America up 17 cents, which knocked on the door at 9 again this morning. So these banks are holding up okay. It's kind of a risk-on day. Some of your financials, some of your techs, some of your cyclicals are doing pretty well. So, and it's a pretty broad-based rally. I mean, we're up 14 points. So, but that's all we've really got time for you on individual stocks. Do you have any closing comments on the overall market there, Joel?
Yeah, Dennis, that 1380, that Friday intraday high is being flirted with right now. We got up to 1379. Looks like the market's poised to take another shot at that level. Coincides nicely with our target on the day, which is just below that 1380 level. So that's going to be our next resistance point. If, in fact, that's taken out, folks, we're going to be back up to Thursday's high at 1386 and a quarter. Apple's certainly helping things, and any pullback to yesterday's high, 1375 and a quarter, I'd look for support.
That's all we've got for you today, and we will be back with you tomorrow morning.